Good morning, everybody. It's homecoming week, all week long in New York City, and you can feel the energy. It's amazing. In the Bronx last night, thank you to everyone in the Bronx. It was amazing. It was beautiful. The Boogie Down Bronx represented last night with an amazing concert. Some of the all-time greats of hip-hop together on one stage. Electric atmosphere, amazing. Hip-hop artists, some of the greatest of all time, including the new hip-hop artist, Senator Chuck Schumer. Who knew? Who knew he had that skill as well? But he was actually showed up by Borough President Ruben Diaz and State Senator Jamal Bailey. Amazing, amazing performances by them. So we are so thankful for everyone who put together that concert. To say the Bronx is back, New York City is back, we are going to come back together, and we can do this. And what I felt, the energy, jubilation, a joy that people were together in a safe, outdoor, vaccinated environment, a sense of determination, a sense that we're going to come back no matter what. And the fact that we're focusing these concerts on hip-hop, which is about the voices of the people, it's about resiliency, it's about strength, it's about our humanity. It really came through last night. It was powerful. Now, Homecoming Week continues tonight, a coveted concert, something that I've been talking to so many people about this concert. They're so excited. Amazing talent coming together in Staten Island, and so much of the incredible people of Staten Island who made an impact on music history coming out to honor their city, honor their borough, honor the people, help the people come back. It is beautiful. It's starting tonight on Staten Island, Midland Beach at 4 p.m. Amazing artists. A lot of people are talking about this lineup. Special thanks to Raekwon the Chef for he joined us last week or 2 weeks ago. We are so happy Raekwon's going to be a part of it. Ghostface Killah, but also a group that is beloved by so many, totally beloved. And I will tell you that Shirlane and I always cherished their song, Tender Love. It's one of our songs. Every couple has their songs, right? So, yes, I'm talking about the Force MDs, and they are some of the greats that ever come out of this city. With us now, Khalil, Stevie D, Zahim, to tell us why it matters to them to participate in this homecoming concert. And we are really, really blessed to have you be a part of it. And it means a lot. I want to say on behalf of everyone in New York City that you guys are participating. God bless you and welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome.
You know what?
What?
Let me love you in the sunshine. Let me hold you, baby, all night. Let me touch you in the moonlight. Let me love you, gonna make you all mine. Stevie D, baby.
We're ready to rock tonight. Staten Island, man, it's time to grab the mic. So come out there, cause it ain't no joke. Get vaccinated, take the ferry boat. We're gonna rock tonight, it's gonna be alright. Hey, man, Tender Love's gonna be there tonight. So let's do it in the place to be with the FORCE, the Force MDs.
Yeah.
Wow. You made that look easy. And you got vaccination into it. Okay, I ate a hamburger live to encourage vaccination, but that was even better. That was better. Tell us what this concert means to you.
Oh, it means a lot, man, because especially for Staten Island, because Staten Island was always the forgotten borough at one time, you know, and we're just happy that it's getting a lot of attention from, you know, groups like us, Force MDs, Wu-Tang, and all other groups, Pop the Brown Hornet guys that in the Staten Island area that is putting Staten Island on the map, and I'm just happy that it's gonna be real special, man, because we were one of the first acts to make it from Staten Island, and we used to come out, people was like, where's Staten Island? But it's the 5 boroughs, so I'm happy we on this show, that one of these boroughs we represent. I gotta say that.
We're happy because we grew up on Staten Island, all our friends
Yes.
and family. It's just good, you know, everybody was in the house, COVID, had to kind of like threw people off and whatnot. It's just good to be back in front of everybody and everybody getting the chance to reunite. So this is beautiful what the city's doing. It's great what you're doing right now. This is good.
Sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. What do you think?
Hey, this is a very monumental moment, man, and we so excited. We want everybody to come out today, have a beautiful time, celebrate with us. You know, this is the hip hop, man. We bringing hip hop back.
R&B as well.
R&B as well.
That's right.
And make sure you have your Vax cards. We playing this safe, and we're gonna have some fun.
Yes, yes, indeed.
I love that. I love that. And you know, people need some inspiration because we've been through so much.
Yeah. And our inspiration comes from the Force Indies members we lost, TC, Trisco, Mercury, and
Dr. Rock.
Yeah, Dr. Rock K1, and shout out to Jesse. I gotta say shout out to Jesse D. But we are really excited, man, because Staten Island's our home, and we started singing on the ferry boat. That's how we started.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we got discovered on the Staten Island ferry, so it's really gonna be really interesting, you know, to really go out there and do our thing. To all our Staten Island people, y'all come out here, support. Like he said, get your vaccination shot. Make sure you got your shots.
Just make sure you tested at least. You know.
Yeah. So,
We singing all the hit songs.
Yes.
together. We have a beautiful time.
Listen, I am so appreciative to you guys because you're going to make tonight really, really special. And people, we turn to our artists
Right.
in times of challenge. We turn to the people who make us feel better about our lives. And people have been through so much. Now we get to see that we can come back together, and you guys are leading the way. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thanks for having
Force MDs, everybody. We are so lucky to have them be part of this incredible show tonight. So, everyone, the Bronx was amazing. Staten Island is going to be like interstellar. It's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be talked about all over the universe. And then, Homecoming Week continues Thursday at the Brooklyn Army Terminal, Friday at Forest Hill Stadium. Unbelievable lineups every night. If just one of these concerts was happening in a week, people would be talking about it. 5 concerts in a week, and of course the We Love NYC concert, the Homecoming concert itself, Great Lawn of Central Park, a lineup like no one's ever seen in their life, unbelievable. So, these concerts, get there, be a part of it, unbelievable. You can still be a part of Staten Island tonight, and if you want to be a part of the Central Park concert, the last batch of free tickets, did I say free? Free. The last batch of free tickets will drop at noon today. Go to nyc.gov/homecomingweek. So here's a chance to be part of history.
that's right.
And remember, as the Force MDs so eloquently sang, get vaccinated so you can be a part of the show. If you're already vaccinated, that's great. If not, you can get vaccinated right now and bring that proof with you. Even that first dose qualifies you to go to these amazing shows. Go to vaccinefinder.nyc.gov to find out where you can get vaccinated.
That's right.
Thank you, guys. God bless. Thank you.
Shout out to Pebbly Pool.
That's good. Get those last shout-outs. All right, everybody. We know that vaccination has been the key. We know that vaccination has allowed us to move forward as a city. So many jobs are back, people's livelihoods, so much of the energy, the excitement, the arts, the culture, all because of vaccination. So now, today, Key to NYC begins. You want to experience all the greatness in New York City? You can. All you have to do is be vaccinated. Even again, just that first dose gets you in the game. Indoor dining, indoor fitness, indoor entertainment. This is a way we all keep moving forward together. This is a way we stay healthy. This is a way we bring back our city fully. Now, a lot of restaurants, a lot of entertainment establishments are there already. They believe in this. They are making it happen because they want their customers to be safe and their employees to be safe. So they're already buying into this. And they know it's important for everyone. They also know, particularly for their employees and customers from communities of color, it is even more important, given some of the disparities we've seen, to get people vaccinated. Here's a way to do it. Today, massive education and outreach blitz begins. 600 canvassers going to each and every business, reaching out, providing information, support. There'll be a multi-million-dollar ad campaign to explain to people how important this is, how it works, and small businesses need help can call our hotline, which has helped tens of thousands of small businesses, 888-SBS4-NYC. Now, that is going to make a difference, a huge difference, simply having this new approach in place. But we're going to go farther with more and more mobile vaccination efforts because we found they work, bringing vaccination to the people everywhere. So there'll be pop-up vaccination sites outside businesses. We're talking to businesses, entertainment venues, restaurants, all over the 5 boroughs who want to double down by having vaccination sites right there. We'll have them all over the 5 boroughs to vaccinate workers and customers alike. You name it, we'll get them out there so people can have the benefit of vaccination, keep moving forward with their lives. I want you to hear from a leader who represents small businesses that are part of the heart and soul of New York City, these businesses employ tens of thousands of New Yorkers, make life better for the people of the city, and he believes that these mobile vaccination sites matter. He believes that the key to NYC matters. He is the owner of Mon Amour Coffee and Wine in the Bronx and the president of the New York State Latino Restaurant, Bar, and Lounge Association. My pleasure to introduce Jeff Garcia Fernandez.
Appreciate that introduction. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate that introduction.
How you doing today, Jeff?
Hanging in there, hanging in there. Glad to be with you here to speak on this very important matter of these vaccine sites outside our restaurants.
Tell us what it means to you.
Yes, the key to New York City is a vital measure to protect the health and safety of not only our business owners, but their workers and customers. And so we're incredibly grateful to you for providing the Latino restaurant, bar, and lounge owners the resources they need to ensure that we can maintain both health and continue our recovery. First, I want to have a special thank you to Commissioner Robert Perez for helping us pilot this program together with the Test and Trace Corp team. Through this initial partnership, we started at Boca Restaurant in the Bronx. We were able to vaccinate in just 3 days approximately 100 people. For us, this is so personal. Our members serve the neighborhoods that were hardest hit by COVID-19. So we know firsthand the importance of the vaccine, and that's why this partnership works. This vaccine location outside our restaurant is working. The city will meet us where we need to, where we live, and these life-saving vaccines to keep our recovery moving forward. Our owners have bought in. They're helping spread the word through social media and by talking to the employees and customers, really serving as trusted surrogates, meeting the community where they're at, getting them to understand the importance of this vaccine. In fact, this pilot program is now starting up this week in 2 other locations. One on Dyckman Plaza, Quisqueya Plaza, actually, which you actually inaugurated with us, and Susana from Mama Sushi is one of our locations. Another one is Mojitos and Northern Boulevard in Queens. So I am so thrilled that many other businesses will be able to take advantage of this program starting today so that we can recover and never go back to a complete shutdown ever again. Mr. Mayor, thank you for your leadership, your support, and we look forward to the continued efforts of working with the city and the Latino Restaurant, Bar, and Lounge Association. Thank you.
Jeff, thank you. Listen, first of all, Quisqueya Plaza, what an amazing place. This is one of the jewels of the city that people need to discover in Washington Heights. And I want to thank amazingly active, engaged business leaders there who want to make sure everyone's safe, their employees, their customers, and they're doing great work there. And thank you for helping to make that happen. I really appreciate your leadership, bringing everyone together to make sure folks are safe, to make sure people are vaccinated. But Jeff, you said something else I really want to highlight. We do not want to go back to restrictions. Our businesses, the way we live our life, the greatness in New York City, we do not want to go backwards. The key to continuing our progress, vaccination. So, Jeff, thank you. Thank you for your leadership. It makes a big difference.
Thank you.
Now, everyone, again, heavy emphasis on outreach, education for the next 3-4 weeks. Then after that, enforcement. But I want to keep reminding people, I believe the vast majority of business owners are going to see this as something they can work with and do well with. And also remember, people are smart about the fact that the only way we came out of the worst of COVID was vaccination. Vaccination is the key. We've got to be focused. We've got to be strategic. One of the voices who's been strong on the need for vaccination, the need to bend public policy to a focus on vaccination, Councilmember Steve Levin, He has been uncompromising in pointing out that if we're going to beat the Delta variant, we need to focus on vaccination. We need to use the tools at hand. I want to thank him for his leadership. My pleasure to introduce from Brooklyn and the chairman of the General Welfare Committee in the City Council, Councilmember Steve Levin.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And I'm really thrilled to be here with you today on the first day of New York City's vaccine passport. I have my vaccine card right here, and I'm excited for the future of our city. You know, right now, because of how contagious this Delta variant is, it's 30 times more contagious than the Alpha variant, we're seeing a third wave of infections. There are 2,000 infections, new cases every single day in New York City. That's around what we were seeing last Thanksgiving. Now, what we're not seeing is the same number of hospitalizations that we saw last Thanksgiving. And we're not seeing the same number of fatalities, of deaths that we saw last Thanksgiving. And that's because of the vaccine. Now, in the first two waves of COVID, back in last March and over the winter, we had to take drastic measures to flatten that curve and to bring down the cases. The first time, we had to shut down the city. The second time, the first major wave of vaccines brought down that curve. And now, because of Delta, we have to go all the way. We have to make sure that everybody in New York City is vaccinated. And, you know, I'm looking at all of the different types of vaccines that we require for our kids to go to school. You have to have the DTaP vaccine, the polio vaccine, the MMR, the varicella, the hepatitis, the HIP, the PCV, and the flu vaccine. All kids that go to school have to have these vaccines. I think about my own two kids. They got their first vaccines when they were about 3 days old. 3 days old. So we know as a society that vaccines are the way that really the mechanism that we have to beat contagious diseases. And COVID is no different. And so I just encourage everybody. I got my vaccine. I encourage everybody out there. Now's the time. Now is the time. Make sure that you're able to enjoy all that this city has to offer. Every amazing thing that people like Jeff have brought to this city and have kept it going through thick and thin through this crisis. But really, right now we're at this point, this inflection point. Everybody, please, please, please. The time is now to protect yourself, protect those around you, and get the vaccine. Mayor, thank you for your leadership. We're showing here in New York City the way to do it. And I can't tell you how appreciative I am of you and Commissioner Chokshi and your entire team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember. I love the passion and urgency in your voice when you remind people this is the way forward. And I think people are listening. And we're seeing a really improved situation. More and more people coming in and get vaccinated. The incentives work, the mandates work, but also the voices of leaders and community members, whether it's Councilmember Steve Levin or the Force MDs, all saying to people, get vaccinated. Thanks very much, Steve. Appreciate it. Now, everyone, we talked yesterday about another situation affecting so many New Yorkers. And, you know, you think with everything we dealt with COVID, that would be everything we'd be dealt. But no, for so many members of our communities, they're hurting right now because of what's happening in the homeland their families come from in Haiti. So many Haitian Americans are hurting right now in this city. A huge, important community in this city is going through a lot as yet another horrible tragedy has befallen Haiti. So many people worried that they are not even able to locate their loved ones, worried that the destruction that's already been wrought is actually even going to be worse than we know at this point. We had a vigil yesterday in Brooklyn. I want to thank Councilmember Farrah Lewis and Public Advocate Jumaane Williams, Congressmember Yvette Clarke, and so many other leaders of the community got together to say we are here for Haiti. We will support Haiti and the people of Haiti through this crisis, but we're also here for the Haitian American community. We're providing support mental health support for so many people going through so much and having literally just horrible flashbacks of what they went through about a decade ago with the last earthquake. So much pain in Haiti. On top of that, a storm hit last night to make matters worse. It's a horrible situation. Over 1,400 lives lost so far. So we've got to be there for the people of Haiti, and I'm urging all New Yorkers, please donate any way you can at nyc.gov/fund, nyc.gov/fund to support the people of Haiti. I also want to let you know an amazing effort is being undertaken by members of NYPD who are in communities, who feel directly what communities are going through, who are supporting our Haitian American brothers and sisters and the people of Haiti with an extraordinary effort to get humanitarian relief to Haiti. I want you to hear from the leader of that effort. I want to thank him for his commitment, not only what he's doing now in this crisis, but what he does every single day to keep all of us safe as a leader within the NYPD. He is the president of the Haitian American Law Enforcement Organization. My pleasure to introduce Lieutenant Claude Celestine.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lieutenant Claude Celestine, and I'm the president of HALIFO. HALIFO is the Haitian American Law Enforcement Fraternal Organization. As the mayor mentioned, we all know by now, on Saturday, August 14, Haiti was struck once again by a very powerful earthquake, in addition to tropical storm Grace that hit us last night. Haitian authorities are now recording so far over 1,400 deaths, nearly 7,000 people injured, and destruction to many cities and towns. The numbers are expected to rise. At this present moment, millions of Haitian people are in desperate need of help. Millions of my brothers and sisters are in dire need of help. That's including children and older adults. They are in desperate need of food, shelters, the basic necessities, the very basic necessities that human being needs to survive, the basic necessities that we here take for granted. We need your help. We are counting on the generosity and the humanity of the New Yorkers, of all New Yorkers, for support. We are asking for donations for these millions of Haitian brothers and sisters. We are collecting food, tents, medical supplies, first aid kits, blankets, flashlights, personal hygiene products, feminine products, and more. All donations can be dropped off at any NYPD precinct. On behalf of HALIFO and the Haitian community, we'd like to thank Mayor de Blasio for the support and assistance he has provided so far. And special thank you to Police Commissioner Shea for opening the doors of all NYPD precincts to be used as drop-off locations. Special thank you to Congresswoman Yvette Clark, Councilmember Farah Lewis, Assemblymember Bishop for embracing the cause of the Haitian people. Thank you to Senator Schumer, Senator Gillibrand, Congressman Gregory Mix, and the federal government, and many other elected officials who have stepped up so far to help out. As Mayor de Blasio said yesterday, the strength of the Haitian people is legendary. If you allow me to add, Mr. Mayor, we are even stronger and more resilient with the help of our fellow New Yorkers, who time and time again have always been there for us. Thank you, New Yorkers. I leave you with this well-known Haitian saying, "Mais en pile, chai palo." Many hands made the load lighter. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant. Really, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, sir.
And Lieutenant said something very important. Folks in Haiti have been through so much, but they've always known there were people here in New York City with them.
Yes, sir.
Supporting them, believing in them. Imagine what it would feel like. An earthquake a decade ago, another earthquake now, all the other challenges and problems. Imagine if you felt totally alone. We can't let the Haitian people ever feel alone. New York City is going to be and always will be there for them. So everyone, please, whether you can donate at a police precinct through this excellent effort that the lieutenant and his colleagues have put together, and thanks to you and Commissioner Shea, everyone who made that happen, or donate through the Mayor's Fund, whatever you can do to help the people of Haiti. It's a reminder to them that we will not ever let them feel alone. We will be there for them no matter what. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we're going to turn to our indicators now, as we do every day. But first, A reminder, the key to defeating the Delta variant, of course, vaccination. So let's look at the doses administered to date. We continue to see progress every day. 10,344,588 doses. Every one of these doses helps us defeat the Delta variant. So we're going to keep building, building, building. Let's go over today's updates. First, daily number of people admitted to New York City hospitals for suspected COVID-19. Today's report, 139 patients. Confirmed positivity level, 39.04%. Hospitalization rate, 1.36 per 100,000. And then new reported cases on a 7-day average, 1,669. Okay, a few words in Spanish. And I want to go back to where we began this morning with homecoming week and these extraordinary gatherings that are happening. Esta semana vamos a celebrar la mejoría de la ciudad de Nueva York en una manera legendaria. El último lote de boletos para Central Park se publicaron hoy a las 12 del mediodía. No se pierdan la oportunidad de ser parte de la historia. Se lo ganaron. With that, let's turn to our colleagues in the media. And please let me know the name and outlet of each journalist.
Good morning. We will now begin our Q&A. As a reminder, we are joined by Health Commissioner Dr. Dave Choksi and Do-It Commissioner Jesse Tisch. Our first question for today goes to Gloria Pazmino from New York One.
Morning, Mr. Mayor.
Hey, Gloria, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
I wanted to ask you about, as you talk about vaccination, and we are hearing that the Biden administration is expected to advise boosters for most Americans in the next couple of days, 8 months after they've been vaccinated. I wonder what the city has done so far to prepare for that. What are the logistics that will involve, and how will that potential new directive look like so that people can have access to it?
Yeah, thank you, Gloria. Really important question. We want people to start thinking about this because there will be more and more opportunities for folks to get boosters, and we're not only going to encourage it, we're going to make it easy and free as always. I'm going to turn to Dr. Choksi and Dr. Katz, but we've been talking about this week, how we use the apparatus that's been built now, which is absolutely extraordinary. All the healthcare sites that have been providing vaccination, our mobile efforts, even our efforts to go straight to people's homes. We have now such a head of steam in terms of being able to vaccinate. We can use the same exact approach for boosters as each type of New Yorker qualifies for boosters. Let me turn to Dr. Choksi and then Dr. Katz to talk about how they'll do that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And yes, we have been preparing for the possibility that booster doses will be recommended for either certain subpopulations or for a broader set of New Yorkers who have already gotten either the single dose or the 2-dose mRNA vaccines. So those preparations are underway. And as the mayor has said, they will rely on the infrastructure that we have built up over the last several months, and particularly the healthcare infrastructure. Those are the hospitals, clinics, pharmacies, as well as the additional city sites and mobile options and in-home vaccination that we've built up over the last few months. I do want to emphasize that the news reports that we are hearing are still preliminary. We do need the federal government to come out with its official guidance, particularly the FDA authorization, and that will likely require that all of the science be vetted and it go through the official process before booster doses are formally recommended. So our understanding is that the timeline that we should expect for New Yorkers to actually get administered booster doses is no earlier than sometime in September, but we will be ready for that eventuality.
Thank you. And I had said Dr. Katz, but I understand he had some technical difficulty. Dr. Ted Long is with us now. I don't know if you heard the question, Ted. Do you want to add on the question of how we're preparing to give the booster shots through H&H?
Yes, I did, sir. Dr. Choksi covered all the main points. What I would add is that we have several tools in our tool belt that are assembled now and ready, including our home vaccine effort, which we are currently leveraging for the third dose as part of the primary series for Pfizer and Moderna. So we'll be able to not only offer the booster as appropriate as recommended at our existing sites, at our 30+ mobile units that go around the city every day, but also as part of our home vaccination effort, where you can go to nyc.gov/COVID/home vaccine, which you could also do today. And if it's your first dose, we'll even give you $100 when we go to your home.
Can't do better than that. Okay, Gloria, go ahead.
Okay, thank you for that. And Mr. Mayor, if I could ask you a little bit of a politics question. I understand that you're supposed to be meeting with Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul today. I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about what you are hoping to discuss with her, what some of the priorities might be, and what you're looking forward to on that meeting.
And Gloria, I would say it's really a government discussion, because we have a lot to do. I'm really looking forward to meeting with Lieutenant Governor Hochul. Look, I think we'll be able to work well together. We've already spoken. This meeting's going to be about how we fight COVID, how we fight the Delta variant, how we move this recovery forward, and the ways we can coordinate together, in a positive manner. I think we're going to be able to do a lot of good work. So I'm really, really looking forward to setting the groundwork today, and then very much looking forward to when she takes over so we can roll up our sleeves and do good work together.
Our next question goes to Andrew Siff from NBC.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, and everyone on the call. Mayor, on your Key Pass initiative, are some of the indoor entertainment locations new, such as movie theaters? And if so, can you sort of talk about what the road they've been on? They were one of the last things to open, then they had to do it sort of with masking and spacing, and now they're going to have to sort of add the ability to check for vaccines at the door. What does this mean, and will your canvassers also be helping establishments like these?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, let me see if we can get the slide up. I don't know if you have the one from yesterday or if you have it today with the list of all the different venues that are covered. Try the magic of technology. Let's see if you guys can do it. I have faith that one way or another you're going to find it. Andrew, no, actually movie theaters were from the beginning anticipated as one of these examples. We talked about indoor dining, restaurants, bars, obviously, indoor entertainment, which is a wide variety of different locations, and then indoor fitness. So that's what we've been laying out from the beginning. Yes, we're going to do a lot of outreach. We want this to work for people. Now, I remind you, I really believe this is sort of a common sense matter. Any place you go has some check-in when you get there. It's up there? Look at that. I knew you could do it. Turn it around so I can see it. I had faith in them. I had more faith in them than they had in themselves. So Andrew, there is the list for you on the screen. And yes, intensive outreach effort, first going to any place that wants us to come over, have people come over in person and talk it through, canvassing effort. Obviously, people can call the hotline. Again, that's 888-SBS-4-NYC. And the whole idea is to give a month, basically, for business to get used to it. But the common sense point is you're going to be at a restaurant, bar, people check in when they come in for their seating. You check IDs right now if people are drinking. You go to a movie theater, you buy a ticket or you scan a ticket. You go to a fitness club, you show your ID. There's already an obvious point at which you can go ahead and check vaccination. And I really urge people to get the COVID Safe app, the NYC app, which is just so simple. You just take a photo on your phone of your regular ID and your COVID vaccination proof, and they're right there, and it takes a second to show it, and you're done. And I remind people, again, that's something that is not connected to the internet. It's just a tool for you to keep that information easily and show it easily. So I think with certainly help from us, these different establishments will be able to adapt to this pretty easily. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yesterday, when we talked to some restaurant owners and customers, I did encounter some folks who have not been vaccinated, and I asked, does the idea that you won't be able to eat in this restaurant, does that compel you to get the vaccine? And this was a woman, she's a healthcare worker who's not vaccinated. She said, nope, I'll just save my money and I won't dine out. I just wonder if that little vignette illustrates the challenge of moving more of this population towards vaccination.
Andrew, you're going to find some people who are unwilling, but that's not most people. We've really looked at this carefully. So first of all, let's talk about who's vaccinated already. In this city, 5.2 million New Yorkers have at least one dose, so they already instantly qualify for all the things we're talking about, the indoor dining, indoor entertainment. 5.2 million people are already, right this minute, qualified. And tens of thousands more become qualified regularly. We had last week, for the first time since early June, we had over 100,000 first doses last week. First time that had happened in months. So that 100,000 people instantly qualified. As we said, with the concerts this week, you can get vaccinated right there outside the concert and then go in. So I think you're going to find a lot of people will say, hey, I really want to participate in these things, so I'm just going to go get vaccinated. We've also done a lot of polling. The polling shows that most people who are unvaccinated are open to being vaccinated. They're not philosophically against it. They need it to be convenient, or they need to get a few more answers, or they need a little bit of motivation like some of the mandates. But they're going to get there. And by the way, for our businesses in the city, we rely on tourists. Most tourists coming into New York City, from everything we're seeing, are vaccinated. Suburbs have a higher rate of vaccination than the city, so people coming in from the suburbs are more likely to be vaccinated. So there's a huge audience of folks who right this moment can go to those businesses and enjoy them. And I do believe the mandate's going to inspire a lot of people, particularly younger New Yorkers, to just go ahead and get vaccinated so they can participate fully.
Our next question goes to James Ford from Pix 11.
And good morning, Mr. Mayor and everyone on the call.
James, you must be doing something right. You're the number 3 hitter today. I mean, that's power. Power.
I feel the power. I also feel the power of the Force MDs. I want to thank you for having them. And could we maybe have them on more of these calls?
I want all major announcements to be done in 3-part harmony. I just think that's the way of the future. Like, you know, the press conference as we know it is done. Everything's going to be in song from now on.
You got my endorsement. Bring them to Inner Circle, please.
Yes.
Anyway, on to the questions. Look, this morning we spoke with the owner of a bakery and restaurant in Bay Ridge, who said something that we've heard from a few other merchants, that the vaccine mandate, the key to NYC, is discriminatory. It discriminates against unvaccinated people, said the owner. I'd appreciate just hearing your response and the response of anyone else on the call who cares to answer.
Yeah, look, I think I saw quotes from that same owner. I respect everyone's opinion, obviously. But let me tell you why I disagree with that. Because, first of all, let's take the example of a bakery or any place else where people are going in to get something to go in most cases. That is not what we're talking about here. If you are unvaccinated and you want to go in and get takeout somewhere, you can still do that. You want to go in and buy some cannoli and walk out, you can do that. So that's not the issue here. The issue here is when people sit down for a long period of time, eat and drink in a restaurant or bar, if they're in a movie theater, for example, or other entertainment venues, close together indoors, long period of time. Fitness, we all know, as the doctors have talked about, and I'll see if Dr. Choksi or Dr. Long want to add in a second, but, you know, obviously fitness, a lot of exertion, exhaling, you know, these are all places where there's particular concerns. But if you're just going into a bakery and getting something to go, you could be vaccinated, you could be unvaccinated. But the reason I also want to say it's not discrimination, this is about protecting people. in our society, for generations, we've done all sorts of things to protect people. We have driver's licenses, as you heard from Steve Levin. We've had vaccinations of all kinds. There's so many things we do to protect people. This is a way of protecting people. But for the many, many establishments, they still have a huge number of people they can serve right now who are vaccinated. And we know a lot of people are now going to be encouraged to get vaccinated because of these mandates. It's just the truth. It's going to be the decisive factor for a lot of people. So this is about moving us out of a global crisis. That's what's motivating us. Dr. Choksi or Dr. Long, you want to add?
Sir, thank you. I'll just add briefly. What we know is that the coronavirus does not discriminate. It has caused so much suffering and illness across our city. And so these actions that we are taking, including the Key to NYC, are focused on protection and safety and health. And they do so both at the individual level, at the business level, but very importantly, as the mayor just said, it's also about improving our overall vaccination rate for the city. And by doing so, that extends protection, not just to individuals who are vaccinated, but to neighborhoods, communities, and the city as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Long, you want to add?
Sir, yeah, I would add the way that we fight back against COVID and we fight back against this global crisis is by getting enough people vaccinated. Everything we're talking about here today is how we want to help New Yorkers to get more vaccinated to keep our city safe. Part of it is when you go in to do things like indoor dining or go to the gym, we want to make sure we take that opportunity to help to encourage people to get vaccinated. Or with restaurants, like with Boca last week, we wanted to offer people the vaccine on their way in. So everything we're doing here is about doing the single most important thing that we need to do to get coronavirus out of our city once and for all, and that's getting people vaccinated by meeting them where they are, where they live, where they play, and even if we go to your home, giving you $100 and we give you that home vaccine.
Ted, we're going to make you tell your story now that you held back from the public on Thursday. So, James, just bear with us a moment because this is a true life story. Ted with one of his patients who was a little hesitant and how it turned into something very different as Ted explained all the ways that we help people and support vaccination. Take it away, Ted.
Yeah, thank you, sir. This is an experience that was personal to me. It really made an impression on me. I was in clinic. I'm a primary care doctor in the Bronx, and I had a patient I was doing a telephone visit with, so he wasn't actually in front of me in clinic. He hadn't gotten the vaccine yet. When I asked why, he said he wanted to talk to me about it first, which is totally reasonable. We started to talk about how he could come in, but when I offered to come to his house, his first question was, wait, you're going to come to my house? What about the other 5 family members I have that haven't been vaccinated either? I said, of course, we'll come to your house, we'll vaccinate all 6 of you, and we'll give each of you $100. And he said, well, so you're going to come to my house, give all 6 of myself and my other 5 family members the vaccine for free, and give us $600 just to do that? Forget about it. So he was very excited to do this. I signed him up right there on the spot. And then I had another experience talking to somebody soon after that who had a grandmother at home who was homebound, wasn't able to come into clinic. I said, not only will I have my team come, the Test and Trace Corps will come to your home, do the home vaccine for you for free, we'll give Grandma $100. Grandma's going to get vaccinated now.
I love it. I love it. Ted, the more people hear about it, the more people decide it's the right thing for them and their families. Thank you. Go ahead, James.
By the way, if I'm just asking if you can disclose the names or of those people, we'd appreciate it. My guess is we have to do that offline. But
yes, James, we're going to. Yeah, James, you're a discerning man. Yes, we'll see offline if those folks would like to talk to you. I think they're pretty great stories that we'd love to let you follow up on. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So on behalf of my colleague Ayanna Harry, this is really a follow-up on one of Gloria's questions. You had spoken about meeting with Lieutenant Governor Hochul. Could you elaborate a little more, particularly talk about the contrast between her leadership style and Governor Cuomo's, and how you feel about that, and how you think that might be played out in your encounter with her?
Yeah, and look, James, I'm hopeful. I have had, a good relationship with Lieutenant Governor. I've not spent a lot of time with her. I haven't worked with her on a lot of substantive issues, but I've always found her to be an open person, you know, a decent person, thoughtful person. I'm very hopeful that she can help to really change the environment. We have seen so many bad things in Albany, so many troubling things, and it's going to take a huge amount of change. So I'm really hopeful that she can help to set a new tone. But look, again, I have every reason to believe we'll work well together. I think most people, again, I keep saying to people, Andrew Cuomo was really aberrant, but people have gotten too used to it. He was not normal. He is not normal. That's not how most people do things. That's not how professional people do things, to bully and harass people all day long and to spend endless hours on the phone attacking reporters or elected officials or whatever it is. Let's go back to something approximating normalcy and just have elected officials work together and address the issues. I think it can be done, and I'm looking forward to the meeting.
Our next question goes to Marcia Kramer from CBS.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, Marcia. How are you?
Good. I'd like to follow up on the questions you've been getting about meeting with Kathy Hochul. One of the things that she said is that she plans on picking a lieutenant governor from New York City and has indicated it might be a person of color. I wonder how if you have any recommendations for her, and if you read anything into the fact that she's meeting with Jumaane Williams today as well.
No, I don't read anything into that per se. I think it is smart for her to meet with leaders all over the state, because again, a lot of folks like me have had a little bit of a relationship with her, but we don't know her well, and it's good to start, obviously, to get to know her. But I was asked this last night as well. I certainly think having a lieutenant governor from New York City makes sense, given that she's from Buffalo and that's where she's had most of her experience. I think it'll be a good balance to have that. Go ahead, Marcia.
I just wonder also, when you meet with her, I know that you have a lot of things that you need to talk about. You need to talk about COVID and you need to talk about other things. But one of the things she's doing today is having a roundtable with teachers and parents to discuss the safe way to open schools. I wonder what your pitch is going to be about the safest way to open schools, whether masking is appropriate, whether you have to expand remote learning. I know you want to get people into the classroom and not have remote learning, but taking into consideration the concerns of teachers and parents, what will your pitch be as the best way to open schools safely?
Thank you for the question, Marcia. It's an important question. I'm going to start, and I want to get Dr. Choksi into this too, because we feel both adamantly about why it's in the interest of children, including their health and safety, their mental health, their physical health, to be back in school. So I'm certainly going to talk to the Lieutenant Governor about why we have just strongly come to the conclusion, all of us, our healthcare leadership, our education leadership, everyone here in the city, that we need all our kids back for their good, for everyone's good. And we can do it safely. We did it safely, you know, to the acclaim of the whole nation. We did it safely before there even were vaccines. We now have a high level of vaccination with both kids and adults in our school system. We know we can do this the right way. And in fact, the recent rules put out by the state education department absolutely affirm the approach we're taking. So I'm going to let her know that history, let her know why we've found a way that works, and why, unfortunately, remote education just could not substitute for the real thing. It just couldn't. In terms of why we're so adamant that it makes sense to get all our kids back, I want Dr. Choksi to speak about this, and he will speak as our city's doctor, and he'll also speak as a parent, because I know he feels passionately about this.
Thank you, sir. And I do. You know, my starting point in terms of why in-person learning is so important is that it's not just about education or about the social development of our children, although of course those are tremendously important, but it's also about the health of our children, particularly over the long term, both the physical health as well as the mental health of children. are tremendously benefited by in-person learning and the rich environment that New York City public schools provide for them. We have to do this in a way that is safe. And as the mayor has said, we developed the gold standard for doing this around the country last year. A big part of that was ensuring that people are wearing masks, face coverings in the school environment. But it's also about the other layers of protection, including ventilation, regular testing, making sure that we have appropriate distancing, and taking into account what we've learned about how to prevent in-school transmission. The single most important thing, of course, is that we now have an important new tool that we didn't have for the first day of school of 2020, and that's vaccination. I'm here at Truman High School in the Bronx, where the chancellor and I will be meeting with students in just a few minutes to talk to them and make sure that they have all of their questions answered so we can get as many students, as many school staff, as many families vaccinated before the first day of school. Thank you.
Amen.
Our next question goes to Emma Fitzsimmons from the New York Times.
Hi, good morning, Mayor. Another question about this meeting today with Hopewell. Will you mention congestion pricing? She appears to be sort of lukewarm on it.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk to her about it, Emma. We need it. We now, what we saw a few weeks back with the flooding in the subways, all the service disruptions we've been seeing, we need a long-term solution. If our subways and our buses aren't working, not only is New York City not working, the entire metropolitan region is not working. So I'm always thinking about our comeback, our recovery. We have got to get congestion pricing in place to do that. And guess what? As a result of COVID, we have an even greater congestion problem on top of that. And we've got to improve subway and bus service to keep getting people to make the choice to come back to mass transit. So congestion pricing, crucial on so many levels, and definitely want to talk that through with her. Go ahead, Emma.
I'm also curious what you're seeing in terms of vaccinations. I was looking at the stats this morning, and there has been an uptick, but not a huge jump. So when do you expect to see a huge jump in vaccinations here as you're working on these mandates?
It's a very crucial question, and this is what we talk about every day, Emma. We put these new approaches in place. Now, I want to say, let's define huge jump for a moment. I think the numbers the last few weeks are powerful. We had 30% increase in vaccinations in the last week. If you go back 2 weeks, it's a 52% increase. So that's powerful. Again, I mentioned earlier, last week, for the first time since early June, 100,000 plus first doses. So we're definitely seeing movement. And remember that the impact of everything we've done, the incentives, we saw even as of days ago, we had over 50,000 people had taken the incentive. The worker mandates are coming into play more in waves, and the state's decision to go ahead and have a mandate for all healthcare workers, all of that's going to start increasing the numbers, and obviously the key to NYC. So I think you're going to see a buildup, but we're asking ourselves all the time, is it enough? And do we need to use other tools? And that's something that, that's a decision we're going to make literally as we see day by day the play out.
Our next question goes to Steve Burns from WCBS 880.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, how are you today?
Good, Steve. How you been?
Doing all right. I wanted to ask, follow up on Emma's question about congestion pricing. I understand you obviously want to bring that up with the Lieutenant Governor. We also heard from the MTA yesterday, their new estimate seems to be about 16 months to finish up what had been called the expedited review process that the federal government had granted. So judging by your facial expression there, that kind of answers my question. Wanted to see if you buy that timeline and, what your words of advice to the MTA are here.
Do I buy that timeline? No. I'd like to meet the person who thinks 16 months is expedited. I mean, that's ridiculous. I will say some part of this is an issue with the state and the MTA. I also want to see what's going on the federal side. Everyone's got to go faster. I mean, this is crazy. This decision was made now years ago. We need it. The impact come on, we're talking about a way proven now around the world of reducing congestion. So if they want to know the environmental impact, I'll tell them it will reduce congestion, it will reduce pollution, it will help address climate change, get more people to go on to mass transit. I mean, I just think this is getting a little ridiculous. So we got to find a way to speed this up and move forward. And in the meantime, do all the work and the decisions around it. I named my finance commissioner to the panel that's supposed to be figuring out all the policies and all. The state still hasn't acted. They just got to get in gear here. Go ahead, Steve.
Thank you. And on a more philosophical question about the lieutenant governor, I know a lot of the focus has been on the historical nature of her being the first woman to lead New York State, and rightfully so. But there's another historical aspect to this that's kind of fascinated me, that she is going to be the first governor of New York State to not come from New York City or its immediate surroundings in about 100 years. So I wanted to ask you, do you think that is a good thing, maybe a fresh set of eyes? Is it a bad thing that there might be more of a learning curve to New York City's unique set of issues? How do you approach that aspect of the lieutenant governor's coming governorship here?
Look, I think what I'd say, first of all, I'm just glad she is coming in and putting what we've all been through behind us. I think anyone going that role will have to learn a lot of new things by definition. We do need to see ourselves as one interdependent state. I mean, that's just the truth. We're all connected. And, what happens in the rest of the state affects New York City. What happens in New York City affects the rest of the state. There's no question about it. Our recovery is going to help move the recovery for the rest of the state. I'm sure Lieutenant Governor understands that and feels that too. So I think, not to be too cheesy here, but I think we're all in this together. And what we need is really clear, coherent approaches to fight back the Delta variant and speed the recovery for the whole state. And that's what I'm going to work with her on.
We have time for 2 more questions today. Our next question goes to Nolan from the Post.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Hey, Nolan, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
I'm okay. I got caffeinated, but I need more. That's my statement today. I need a new, stronger kind of caffeine. Yeah, I know Nolan and I relate on this important topic.
On this, I believe you'll find common cause with the New York Post.
Wait, I'm not hearing you. Get back to the microphone there, Nolan.
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
There you go.
All right. So on the topic of the vaccine mandate, there have been a slew of articles published about the Delta variant outbreak in Provincetown, where you had a population that was extraordinarily highly vaccinated, and you had a series of outbreaks from what appear to have occurred in establishments in the Cape Cod community. So, is the vaccine passport that we're introducing here, do you view this as a way to cut down on outbreaks, or do you view this as a mechanism to encourage people to get vaccinated?
Important question. I'll start and I'll turn to Dr. Choksi and Dr. Long. Look, we know that as more people get vaccinated, we're saving lives, we're protecting people from the worst outcomes. Obviously, saving people from death, first and foremost. This is proven. And even from hospitalization and serious illness. We know that vaccination achieves that. We know that vaccination helps us recover. We also know that it helps inhibit the spread. So there's so many levels on which vaccination, I know you sort of did an either or. I would say there's many virtuous reasons for more and more vaccination, and breakthrough cases are rare. So now I'll turn to the experts to explain. Take it away, Dr. Choksi.
Thank you, sir. And Nolan, thanks for this important question. I would break down our public health interventions at this stage in the pandemic into 3 major categories. The first and most important one is getting as many unvaccinated people fully vaccinated as quickly as possible. The second is ensuring that unvaccinated people follow the precautions that we know have helped to slow the spread of COVID-19 over the last 18 months: masking, distancing, testing, washing your hands, etc. And then the third is for vaccinated people to follow some of those precautions as well. That's the order in which we have to focus our efforts. And the first one, making sure as many people get vaccinated as quickly as possible, is far and away the most impactful, because it helps us not just to avert the serious illness, the hospitalizations and deaths that we care so much about preventing, but it also does help us to cut down on overall community transmission as well. So that's why all of our strategies are aligned toward this core goal of getting as many people vaccinated as possible.
Dr. Long, you want to add?
Yeah, I think Dr. Choksi again covered the key points there. I would emphasize two important data points, Nolan, that also underline the importance of getting people vaccinated. Number one is that there's a several-fold decrease in transmission from one person to another person if you are vaccinated. And number two is, as Dr. Choksi has said in the past, we've looked at hospitalizations among unvaccinated people previously. We found that 98% of people that are hospitalized are unvaccinated people. So those two things together really clearly show how strong the data is behind getting people vaccinated. And everything we're doing now is to encourage people to get vaccinated now to keep our city safe.
Thank you. Go ahead, Nolan.
Yeah, thanks for those answers. Dr. Long just said there's a many-fold decrease in the odds of getting the virus, even with the Delta variant floating around, provided you are vaccinated. There's a lot of nonsense floating around the internet questioning the efficacy of the vaccines when it comes to the Delta variant. So I'm wondering if there's a number that can be put to it. Are we talking about, is it, you reduce the odds by 90% or by 95% or by 80% or some way for folks to quantify exactly how much protection the current vaccinations, give against the Delta variant, which would also perhaps explain why there's this new push for boosters.
Very good question. And Dr. Choksi, can you put it into those terms cleanly?
Yes, sir, I can try. These are statistics, data that are continuing to be gathered, both at the national level as well as in New York City and other jurisdictions. Based on the most recent national data that the CDC has put out, it's estimated that the difference that vaccination affords is anywhere from about 2.5-fold to 4-fold with respect to preventing infection. It's higher than that, about 9 to 10-fold for preventing hospitalization, and likely higher than that, about 20-fold for preventing death. So what does this all mean? Again, the bottom line is that all of the authorized vaccines offer strong protection against preventing severe illness. And even in the context of the Delta variant, we know that they do help to prevent infection as well as to stop the spread of the coronavirus.
I want to challenge you, Dr. Choksi, in a good way. The 10-fold, 20-fold terminology, I think, is a little harder for folks to take in than what Nolan was talking about, sort of putting it into percentage and all. But what I heard you say is you are 20 times more likely to die from the coronavirus if you contract it and you're unvaccinated than if you are vaccinated. Did I interpret that right?
Those are, based on what we know right now, sir, those are the approximate odds that we have for death as well as for hospitalization.
Right. So to Nolan's important question, and I think that's certainly when I talk to people, the number one thing they're concerned about is serious illness and, of course, death. You're 20 times more likely to be vulnerable to a serious illness, even as much as death, if you are unvaccinated than if you are vaccinated. I think that statistic speaks volumes, and it's probably one we need to say a lot more often to help people understand.
Our last question for today goes to Yehudit from Borough Park 24.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
Good, Yehudit. How you been?
I'm great, thank you. So many business owners in Borough Park are still reeling from the number of inspectors, sometimes inexplicably 12 in one day, that kind of descended on 13th Avenue back in October of 2020 when they were ticketing about the COVID protocols, the details of which many business owners have told me that they received no email, letter, or phone call about what they were and how they should best implement them. So now that civilian agencies are enforcing the New York City Pass on September 13th, I was wondering whether you can address that some neighborhoods felt more targeted with inspectors and enforcement than others, and whether you can guarantee that that won't happen again. And then also how education and outreach to small businesses, particularly in ethnic neighborhoods that maybe do not speak English as their first languages, will be different this time with the key to New York City Pass.
Yeah, I really appreciate the question, Yehudit, and I'm going to see. I'm not sure is Commissioner Janelle Dorris on or not? Okay, I know Commissioner Jesse Tisch is on. Maybe she'd like to speak to this as well in a moment. We absolutely want that outreach to be thorough, to be helpful, educational in whatever language is best for the store owner. We do have the hotline that people can call and speak to experts in multiple languages. Please, Yehudit, get this word out, 888-SBS-4NYC, to answer any and all concerns. I heard those complaints and concerns last year. I certainly was not happy with what happened. That was not the goal. As you remember, Yehudit, we had a very contentious situation with the state of New York at that point. Mandating additional rules and approaches that weren't always helpful. Again, as we talked about earlier today, I'm very hopeful we will not be having that problem again, and we obviously don't have the same state laws and rules forcing our hand, so we'll be able to control our own destiny. We want to educate and help the small business owners. We don't want to penalize anyone if we can avoid it, and I think this approach will be straightforward. We can make it work, and I don't want to see those kind of non-stop inspections. That's not our goal, obviously. We're in a very, very different environment now, thank God. Commissioner Jesse Tisch, you want to add anything to that?
Sure, I'll add one thing. All of the 600 canvassers who are doing education and outreach, they've actually hit the pavement this morning. They are equipped with access to Language Line. So Language Line gives them access to 180 plus different languages just for the purposes of translation. So every single one of those canvassers will have that. In addition, we are translating all of the materials related to Key to NYC in the 10 city languages, and all of those, the posters, the flyers, any materials will be available in all of those languages on the Key to NYC website.
That's great. And Commissioner, will you please make sure that we, in addition to the translation effort, that we get some team members who are Yiddish speaking to join in that canvassing effort in Borough Park? I think that'd be real helpful.
That's the plan, sir.
Okay. Go ahead, Yehudit.
Thank you so much. And then you've said many times that many business owners are on board and enthusiastic about the New York City Pass, but I was wondering whether you could address maybe the anxiety and fears of some business owners who are trying to come back, and they might be afraid of potentially turning away confused and angry customers and maybe tourists who are from out of the country who have different types of vaccination proof or maybe no vaccination proof. And then also I'm wondering whether you were thinking that business owners who are confronted with angry customers should somehow send them out to these vaccination sites that you're providing, the pop-up ones, before coming in.
Okay, let me see if I can cover all that. First of all, we accept proof of vaccination of many kinds, including if it's from other states, obviously, or from other countries. So I think it's fair to say a very high percentage of people who are traveling are vaccinated folks. They will have proof, we'll accept their proof. Again, I expect the vast majority of businesses to work well with these straightforward rules. I expect the vast majority of customers to do the same. This is for certain types of activity. We talked about indoor dining, indoor entertainment, indoor fitness. It's not for outdoor activities. It's not for other types of businesses. Every one of those types of businesses, again, has some kind of procedure where you check in, if you will, at the beginning. That's the natural place to do this. We believe that the civilian outreach is going to help people figure out how to manage this. If they have someone who's upset that they can't go in, yeah, go direct them to a vaccination site, which is all over the city, which is free. All you need is that first dose. You literally could go out, get vaccinated, turn right around, come back, show your card, and you can go into that establishment. And anyone who's been, Yehuda, as you know, anyone who's been vaccinated, it takes minutes. So there's no reason, even the same day, for anyone to miss out on something. If they really want to be a part of something, they can get vaccinated, come right back. I don't expect a lot of conflicts. I think people understand this is a city decision in the context of a global crisis. But if there are conflicts, as always, people can turn for help. And the city is going to be there to help no matter what. But really, in the end, what I'd say is New Yorkers are smart people. They understand we cannot go backwards. Yehuda, I think everyone would agree, the worst of all worlds would be to go back to restrictions. The most devastating thing for our small businesses would be restrictions again. The way to ensure that never happens is to get more people vaccinated. And these are the tools that are going to work. These are the tools that are going to ensure people are vaccinated and safe, and we keep moving forward. Thank you, everyone.